Islam is the largest and the state religion of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, which is second only to Indonesia in the size of its Muslim population. Pakistan has been called a global center for political Islam. The overwhelming majority of Pakistan's 190 million people are Muslim, while the remaining 3 to 5% are Christian, Hindus, and other minorities. Sunnis form the majority at 80 to 85%, of which followers of Barelvi Islam make the vast majority, while the Shias make up between 5 to 20%. Pakistan has the world's third largest Shia population after Iran and India, numbering between 16.5 million to as high as 30 million in 2006 according to Vali Naso. Shia population in 2014 is 42.5 million. Ahmadi Muslims make up approximately 2% of the population of the country. History. Arrival of Islam in modern Pakistan. The arrival of the Muslims to the areas of modern-day Pakistan, along with subsequent Muslim dynasties, set the stage for the religious boundaries of South Asia that would lead to the development of the modern state of Pakistan, as well as forming the foundation for Islamic rule, which quickly spread across much of South Asia. Following the rule of various Islamic empires, including the Ghaznavid Empire, the Ghurrid Kingdom, and the Delhi Sultanate, the Mughals controlled the region from 1526 until 1739. Many Sufi missionaries from Middle East and Central Asia migrated and settled in South Asia. Sufism in Pakistan plays an important role in the country. The Delhi Sultanate and later Mughal Empire ruled the northern India region. During the Delhi Sultanate and later Mughal Empire attracted Muslim refugees, nobles, technocrats, bureaucrats, soldiers, traders, scientists, architects, artisans, teachers, poets, artists, theologians and Sufis from the rest of the Muslim world, and they migrated and settled in the South Asia. During the reign of Sultan Ghiyasuddin Balban, thousands of Central Asian Muslims sought asylum, including more than 15 sovereigns and the nobles, due to the Mongol invasion of Khwarezmia and eastern Iran. At the court of Sultan Iltutmish in Delhi, the first wave of these Muslim refugees escaping from the Central Asian genocide perpetrated by the hordes of Genghis Khan brought administrators from Iran, painters from China, theologians from Samarkand, Nishapur and Bukhara, nobles from Khwarezm, divines and saints from all Muslim lands, craftsmen and men and maidens from every region, doctors adept in Greek medicine, philosophers from everywhere. After the Battle of Panipat, Mughal Emperor Babur defeated the Lodi dynasty with a diverse array of Muslim soldiers and nobles who were awarded estates, and they settled with the families in modern Pakistan. Umayyad invasion of Sindh in 711 CE, when the Umayyad dynasty sent a Muslim Arab army led by Muhammad bin Qasim against the ruler of Sindh, Raja Dahir, Punjab. Following the birth of Islam in Arabia in the early 7th century, the Muslim Arabs rose to power and replaced the Zoroastrian Persian Empire as the major power west of India in the mid-7th century. In 711-713 AD, Arab armies from the Umayyad Caliphate of Damascus conquered Sindh and advanced into the present-day southern Punjab, occupying Multan, which was later to become a center of the Ismaili sect of Islam. Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Hinduism, Buddhism, and Shamanism were the prominent religions in the region until Muslim Arabs and Turks conquered the area during the 7th century AD. Over the centuries, migration took place by the population consisting majorly of Hindus and Buddhists, while local Pashtuns brought in Islam, introducing some of the local traditions such as Pashtunwali of the Pashtun Code of Honor, Islam and the Pakistan movement. The Muslim poet-philosopher Sir Allama Muhammad Iqbal first proposed the idea of a Muslim state in northwestern South Asia in his address to the Muslim League at Allahabad in 1930. His proposal referred to the 4 provinces of Punjab, Sindh, Balochistan, and the northwest frontier, essentially what would become Pakistan. Iqbal's idea gave concrete form to 2 distinct nations in the South Asia based on religion and with different historical backgrounds, social customs, cultures, and social mores. Islam was thus the basis for the creation and the unification of a separate state. Allama Muhammad Iqbal in 1937, in a letter to Jinnah wrote, "After a long and careful study of Islamic law, I have come to the conclusion that if this system of law is properly understood and applied, at last the right to subsistence is secured to everybody, but the enforcement and development of the Shariat of Islam is impossible in this country without a free Muslim status." This has been my honest conviction for many years, and I still believe this to be the only way to solve the problem of bread for Muslims as well as to secure a peaceful India. But just 3 days before the creation of Pakistan, Muhammad Ali Jinnah made a different commitment, a commitment to secularism in Pakistan. In his inaugural address he said, "You will find that in the course of time Hindus would cease to be Hindus and Muslims would cease to be Muslims, not in the religious sense, because that is the personal faith of each individual, but in the political sense as citizens of the state." Quote, this statement of Jinnah is an object of great controversy since then, and this vision of a Pakistan in which Islamic law would not be applied, contrary to Iqbal's perception, was questioned shortly after independence. Islam influence in politics. Constitution. At least one observer has described the range of views on the appropriate role of Islam in Pakistan as having Islamic modernists at one end of the spectrum and Islamic activists at the other. Islamic activists, such as much of the ulama and Jamaat-e-Islami, support the expansion of Islamic law and Islamic practices. Islamic modernists are lukewarm to this expansion, and some may even advocate development along the secularist lines of the West. Since the 1930s, the Muslim League had been lobbying and pushing its politics for a separate homeland for the Muslims of India, known as Pakistan. After Jinnah died in 1948, Prime Minister Liaquat Ali Khan's constitutional policies were directed to work on constitution. On the 12th of March 1949, Prime Minister Ali Khan had the state parliament passing and promulgating the Objectives Resolution, which ultimately declared Islam as state religion of the country. The main objective of resolution was the declaration of states submitting to the democratic faith of Islam and to the sovereignty of God. Such resolution was met with great resistance in the state parliament when Law Minister J.N. Mandal resigned from his ministry and gave great criticism to Prime Minister Liaquat Ali Khan. Politicization of Islam in the country further tightened its support when ultra-conservative clerics passed a demand draft called 22 Points, which called for the preparation of constitution according to Objectives Resolution in 1950, until the government of General Muhammad Zia-ul-Haq. Islamic activists were frustrated by the lack of teeth to enforce Islamic law in Pakistan's constitution. For example, in the 1956 constitution, the state did not enforce Islamic moral standards but endeavored to make them compulsory and to prevent prostitution, gambling, consumption of alcoholic liquor, etc. Interest was to be eliminated as soon as possible. Conservatism and right-wing politics. Political Islam or Islamic revivalism activism in Pakistan was and is associated with right-wing politics. Influential Islamist leader Abul Alam Maududi, leader of Jamaat-e-Islami, strongly opposed socialism and populism. During the 1970 general elections, the religious conservative and not-so-religious conservative parties participated participated in the election in direct competition with left-oriented PPP led by Zulfikar Ali Bhutto. When the PPP won and initiated a land reform and nationalization program, right-wing opposition united under the revivist banner of Nizam-e-Mustafa, calling for the establishment of an Islamic state based on Sharia law, that according to supporters of the movement would mean a return to the justice and success of the early days of Islam when the Islamic prophet, Muhammad, ruled the Muslims. In an effort to stem the tide of street Islamization, Bhutto had also called for Islamization, banning the drinking and selling of wine by Muslims, nightclubs and horse racing. Bhutto was overthrown in 1977 and later executed by General Zia, who received support from this opposition, including Maududi and the Jamaat-e-Islami. Zia pursued conservative policies both domestically and in foreign policy, where he maintained strict opposition to Soviet communism. Islamization was the primary policy or centerpiece of the government of General Muhammad Zia-ul-Haq, the ruler of Pakistan from 1977 until his death in 1988. Zia establishing hudud ordinances against fornication and alcohol consumption, strict blasphemy laws, a profit and loss banking system, taxation of zakat, establishment of a federal Shariat court and a Shariat appellate bench on the Supreme Court, and other policies such as a Ramadan ordinance banning eating, smoking, and drinking in public places during that month and changing the weekend from Sunday to Friday. These carried considerably greater implications for women than for men. Islamic activists believed the policies were inadequate, as interest-bearing saving accounts were not prohibited. Conservative and right-wing sphere Sufism. Sufism is a vast term and many Sufi orders exist within Pakistan. Sufism has a strong tradition in Pakistan. After the partition of the Indian subcontinent, it was the Muslim Sufi missionaries who played a pivotal role in converting the millions of native people to Islam. The Muslim Sufi orders already prevalent in the South Asia spread in other parts of Pakistan, such as predominantly in the Punjab and to a relatively lesser extent in Sindh. The most notable Muslim Sufi orders in Pakistan are doubtlessly the Qadiriya, Naqshbandiya, Chishtiya and Sahrawardiya silsilas, and they have a large amount of devotees in Pakistan. The tradition of visiting dargahs is still practiced today. Sufis whose shrines receive much national attention are Data Ganj Bakhsh in Lahore, Sultan Bahu in Shaukat Jam, Bahauddin Zakaria in Multan and Shahbaz Calendar in Saywan and Shah Abdul Latif Bhatai in Bhit, Sindh and Raymond Baba in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province. The Uars of Sufi saints accounts for the largest gathering upon the shrines held annually by the devotees. Although popular Sufi culture is centered on Thursday night gatherings at shrines and annual festivals which feature Sufi music and dance, certain tariqas such as Sawari Qadri order refrain from such traditions and believe in paying visit to the shrines, making prayers or reciting mankabat. Moreover, contemporary Islamic fundamentalists also criticize the popular tradition of singing, dance and music, which in their view, does not accurately reflect the teachings and practice of the Prophet Muhammad and his companions. There have been terrorist attacks directed at Sufi shrines and festivals, 5 in 2010 that killed 64 people. Presently, the known tariqas in Pakistan have maintained their organizations usually known as tariqs and have the kankas for the Dhikr of Allah, as per the old age Sufi tradition. Muslim fiqh in Pakistan. Sunni. According to the CIA World Factbook and Oxford Center for Islamic Studies, 95 to 97% of the total population of Pakistan is Muslim. The majority of the Pakistani Muslims belong to the Sunni Hanafi madhab. There are two schools among the Sunni Hanafis in Pakistan, the Barelvis and Deobandis, that formed in the late 19th century. The majority consist of Barelvis population, as in a survey 78% are Barelvi and 22% Deobandi in Hanafi school of thoughts. Both schools have their own masjids, seminaries. In the number of registered madras, Deobandi school of thoughts is leading all. The Salafi school is represented by the Ahl Hadith movement in Pakistan. Shia Ithna Ashariya are estimated 5 to 20%. Pakistan has the world's second largest Shia population after Iran, numbering between 16.5 million to as high as 30 million according to Vali Naso. The Shia Ithna Ashariya school has its own masjids and Husainiyas. Mustali Dawudi Bora and Sulaimani Bora also have their own masjids, while the Nazari Ismailis have Jamakhanas. Although the vast majority of Pakistani Shia Muslims belong to Ithna Ashariya school, there are significant minorities. Nazari Ismailis and the smaller Mustali Dawudi Bora and Sulaimani Bora branches. Zikri. Many people on the Makran coast of Balochistan follow the heterodox Zikri sect of Islam. Zikri sect developed within Sunni Hanafis during the 18th century Mahdi movement as a reaction to decline of the Muslim rule and encroaching British colonialism in South Asia. Zikris are now gravitating back towards orthodox Sunni Hanafi beliefs. Quranists. Muslims who reject the authority of Hadith, known as Quranist, Quraniyun, or Al-Quran, are also present in Pakistan. In South Asia during the 19th century, the Al-Quran movement formed partially in reaction to the Al-Hadith movement, whom they considered to be placing too much emphasis on Hadith. Many Al-Quran adherents were formerly adherents of Al-Hadith but found themselves incapable of accepting certain Hadiths. Notable Quranists of Pakistani descent include Ghulam Ahmed Pervez of Sar-Ilam Saeed and Shabir Ahmed. Non-denominational. Roughly 12% of Pakistani Muslims self-describe or have beliefs overlapping with non-denominational Muslims. These Muslims have beliefs that by and large overlap with those of the majority of Muslims, and a difference in the prayers are usually non-existent and negligible. Nonetheless, in censuses asking for a clarification on which strand or rite of Muslim faith they most closely align, they usually answer just a Muslim. Ahmadiyyu. The Ahmadiyyu Muslim community, a minority Muslim group, is also present. In 1974, the government of Pakistan amended the Constitution of Pakistan to define a Muslim as a person who believes in finality of Prophet Muhammad, and technically Ahmadis are declared non-Muslims. Ahmadis believe in Muhammad as the best and the last law-bearing prophet, and Mirza Ghulam Ahmad as the Christ of Muslims. Consequently, they were declared non-Muslims by a parliamentary tribunal. There are approximately 4 million Ahmadi Muslims in the country. This equates to 2.2% of the population. Conversions to Islam. There has been conversion to Islam from the religious minorities of Pakistan. Deen Muhammad Sheikh is a Muslim missionary from Matli in Badin district in Sindh province and has converted over 110,000 Hindus to Islam. Laws and customs. There is no law in Pakistan enforcing hijab, and wearing of hijab by Pakistani women is fairly uncommon. Media and pilgrimages. Media and pilgrimages has influenced Pakistani Muslims to learn more about Islam. As a result, the local folk beliefs and practices are progressively being replaced with orthodox beliefs from Quran and Sunnah. The inexpensive travel, simpler visa rules and direct air travel to Saudi Arabia has resulted in large number Pakistani Muslims going to Medina and Mecca for Hajj and Umrah. This has helped to increase pan-Islamic identity of Pakistani Muslims. The Muslim print media has always existed in Pakistan, which included newspapers, books and magazines. The Muslim satellite channels are widely available and are watched by Pakistani population. Islamic education. The Islamiyat, study of Islam, as a subject is compulsory for all Muslim students up to matriculation in Pakistan. Islamic education to the masses is also propagated mainly by Islamic schools and literature. Islamic schools mostly cater to the youth from impoverished social backgrounds and those learning to be Islamic clerics. More casual and even research-oriented material is available in the form of books. While the most prominent of these schools are supervised, the latter are being moderated by both the government and some of the scholars, thereby also removing in the process the various material present in it that is used by anti-Muslim writers. Oldest and universally accepted titles such as the Sahih Bukhari have been revised into summarized editions, and some of the old, complete titles, translated to Urdu, the national language, are not available for purchase now. These changes are also a herald to new outbreaks of religious controversy in the region. Islamic charity in Pakistan. Islamic institutions like the mosque play an active role in philanthropy. In the times of disasters, Islamic religious institutions play a significant role in relief efforts.